are live for Ask an Herbalist, and we are live on the Facebook group, Whole, Connected, and Free. If you're watching on YouTube, the replay, I hope you can hear me. I've got my mic on. And there's info on the YouTube of how to join our group so that you can join us live and ask questions live and comment live. If not, feel free to comment on the YouTube. And if you're on Facebook, please write #replay. All right, so just a little intro to me while I'm waiting for people to hop on. So my name is Sarah Vitsani, and I am now a master herbalist. About 3 years ago, my family and I moved to the middle of the West Desert in Utah. And we started Homestead because we thought putting permaculture to action in one of the toughest environments we could find would be fun. And it has been fun and very challenging. And about the same time we started that journey, I started studying at Dr. Christopher's School of Natural Healing. I'm going to put this a little closer because it is so very windy. Please, as you hop on, let me know if you can hear me. Hopefully the mic is solving that problem. Okay, anyway, and so that study culminated last week in a 1-week seminar where every day we were having final lectures and practicums and demonstrations and tests every day with the final test. So those of you in the Facebook group, I went live at the end of every day, sharing my experience with that. If you want to know what's it like to go to a Master Herbalist seminar, you can go back and see those videos. Those will never be deleted. They'll be up there. And if you're on YouTube, again, the information to find that group and join it is in the description below. All right. So, all right. So no one is live with me right now. So I am going to think about what I want to just start talking about. Also, if you want a description, a more detailed description of what the Master Herbalist seminar was like, I did write a blog post on herbalembrace.com, as well as everydayinexperiment.com. If you go to those websites in the blog section, you can read all about it. For those of you who are new around here, the herbalembrace.com is for my products business. I can make herbal skincare and tea products. And then I am also an authorized retailer for Holistic Botanicals, who manufactures the Dr. Christopher original formula products. And they have come up with a couple new formulas that are so cool. The first one is VRL. The way the FDA lets you label things or not leads them to having some pretty funny sounding labels. So VRL stands for viral. So it's an all-around great viral formula, whether you have an active cold, flu, or COVID, and or if you have lingering symptoms from that one or any virus, right? They're just a great collection of herbal antivirals. The second one is Kid-E Key. It's kind of hard to say that one, but it's Kid-E-CHE, and that stands for chelation. So it's a children's chelation formula. If you search that on herbalembrace.com, you will find it. And and it has strawberry, tomato, nettles. I'm trying to remember what else. Those were the main three. Let me pull it up again. So it's a powder. It's an 8-ounce powder that you would stir into water. So strawberry juice powder, tomato, nettle leaf, and cilantro leaf. So it's just food and herbs that are really good at strengthening the body, but also pulling out, excuse me, pulling out heavy metals and taking them all the way through and out of the body. All right, because there's a lot of chelation products out there that are not natural and which will chelate metals to the point of getting them out of the tissues, like they're mobilized, but now they're in the bloodstream with nowhere to go. And so it's really important when you're eliminating heavy metals from the body, that you are pulling them all the way out. Okay. Because when there's a poison in your body's really smart. It's first going to try to get it out, but if it doesn't have the resources it needs to get them out, it is going to stash them somewhere that is going to like minimize the disruption to your body as much as possible. And so if we do some kind of chelation that pulls them out of where they've been stashed, now they're actually more dangerous than if they were still stashed there. So that's why we need formulas that are natural and that pull things all the way out. Now, quick reminder here, I am not a healthcare professional. I am not a doctor. I do not pretend to be one. I cannot diagnose or treat disease or prescribe for it. Okay. I'm a master herbalist. I am a health coach. I am an educator. Okay. And so what I would do if I had children who have grown up eating plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables, whole grains, nuts, and seeds and legumes. And have had minimal, let's say, inputs of pharmaceutical drugs and other things that would lead to heavy metal exposure, then I would feel very comfortable using this formula with nothing else, right? Like it's just food. It's just going to keep things moving. It's going to draw things to it and move it out. Very, very safe formula. They say it's tasty. I haven't tried it yet. I do intend to order it today and have my kids take some. All right, because all of us are being constantly bombarded, even from the sky now, right? Like metals are literally being rained down on us in the name of saving the earth or something stupid. But anyways, so I think it's a good idea to do this regularly. Now, if I had children who have not been eating healthily and have had much, much more exposure to pharmaceuticals and drugs in their bodies, such that they have a lot of heavy metals, I would not go straight to this. It's probably safe, but there's a few things that I would do first instead. Again, as you hop on, please let me know if you can hear me. It's very windy today, but I've got my mic on, so I want to make sure you guys can hear me. Okay, so again, if I had a child who I knew had so many toxins in their body, but I also knew, especially heavy metals, that's what we're talking about right now, which again are in pharmaceutical drugs. I would want to make sure first that they are pooping regularly. Hi, Colleen. Oh, I'm so glad you can hear me. Okay. I would want to make sure that they are pooping regularly. That's 3 times a day. Easy, comfortable poops. None of this like well-formed. And we don't want diarrhea either, but like pooping comfortably 3 times a day. Ideally voluminous, right? If we're packed full of raw fruits and vegetables. I would want to make sure the child was urinating frequently. There's not really a good number on that, but like well hydrated and no issues with the kidney or okay. And the way that I would open those two up is the product Kid E Reg, which I'll post in the comments when I'm done recording the video. But it's a children's version of the lower bowel formula, which is a Dr. Christopher's formula. So I'll just read to you what is in this formula. Oh, now we've got an airplane too. It's a real noisy day. Sometimes we have jets fly over us doing training or something. Okay. So the Kid E Reg, it's a glycerin extract. And it has slippery elm bark, which is also really great at pulling things out of the body that shouldn't be there, but at the same time is highly, highly nutritious. Babies can survive on slippery elm powder mixed in water. if for a short time mother can't nurse or there was no other way to feed them. Like humans can survive on this. It's highly nutritious, but it's also an excellent remedy to have around for getting toxins out, for food poisoning, for gas, things like this. For soothing anything that needs soothing, it's a demulcent in the body. It's wonderful. Licorice root, which is a very, very mild laxative, and it makes it a little sweet. Fennel seed, which is great for gas. Anise seed and fig syrup. So all of these things are just very, very mild laxatives to keep things moving. Again, very, very mild. Okay. And the instructions are on the bottle. So I would want to be, you know, making sure the kid is doing that until we're getting to those 3 comfortable bowel movements a day. The thing that you do the same on the adult lower bowel formula is that you start at like the minimum dose on the bottle. You work up to it really over like 3 days or so, work up to that minimum dose on the bottle. The bottle's not going to say minimum dose, but that's what it is. Okay. Like that's what the FDA makes them put on there. And so, and the other way to think of it as the dose on the bottle is the dose for maintenance. Okay. But if you're just starting a program, you're not on maintenance. You're on, we need to get the clog out. Okay. So you might need to hit it kind of hard and then you can back off to that maintenance dose. Okay. I think I explained that fully. Okay. And then, so there's a kid's version of that one. And then, there isn't really a kid's version of the kidney and bladder formula, but there is a extracts. There we go. But there is a glycerin version of it. So again, very, very palatable for kids. The glycerin, it's all vegetable glycerin. It makes it sweet. And that one is called the, I'm gonna search for it. It's taking too long. Okay, so that is called the Dr. Christopher's kidney formula. So what does it have in it? It has ginger root, golden seal root, juniper berry, lobelia herb, marshmallow root, parsley root, and uva ursi leaf. So all of these different herbs are going to disinfect and soothe and rebuild the entire urinary tract. It's an awesome formula. I have given this to my neighbors for UTIs and kidney stones multiple times, always successful. But anyway, totally safe for children. And so that's going to rebuild that system of the body. And then what you want to do is the liver and gallbladder formula. Okay, because obviously we need to be eliminating number 1 and number 2, but then also we need to be supporting the liver and gallbladder in their functions of, as they find toxins in the bloodstream, converting them and moving them to the bowels and the kidneys. Okay, so we are working from the bottom up. All right, because if we start at just like cleansing the bloodstream, okay, you've like cleansed it, but if the liver and gallbladder isn't functional, it's not processing anything, and so now you just have a whole bunch of toxins in your bloodstream. Like we don't want that. And if your liver and gallbladder is working great, but its byproducts have nowhere to go because you're not pooping or peeing, well, then you have a new problem, right? So we work from the bottom up. So the liver and gallbladder formula, again, for children, I would do the glycerin extract because it's way easier to get it in their mouth. You just squirt it in. It has barberry bark, wild yam root, peppermint leaf, cramp bark, catnip herb, ginger root, fennel seed. And so all of these things, again, are going to cleanse and nourish the liver and gallbladder areas and getting them working again, getting the bile flowing, getting digestion going. Who doesn't need that? It's great. And I would be doing those 3. I would start with the kitty reg and the kidney formula, do a week of just those, and then I would add the liver and gallbladder formula for a week. Again, if this were my child, I'm not prescribing. So you're doing the first 2 for 1 week, and then you're adding the liver and gallbladder, okay, for the second week. And then depending on the child, if they're ready, I would add in the bloodstream and the chelation formula at the same time. Okay. So of course there is a bloodstream glycerin extract. And this is going to help as things are chelating with that wonderful strawberry juice and tomato juice, to help capture anything else that's going to be mobilized here. So red clover blossom is the main actor in this play. Chaparral leaf, licorice root, poke root, peach bark, Oregon grapefruit, Silingia root, Cascara sagrada bark, sarsaparilla root, prickly ash bark, burdock root, and buckthorn bark. So this is a heavy hitting formula. Again, it depends on the strength of the child, just how toxic are they, because why am I going through this big long process? It's because if we just hit somebody hard with cleansing and all of their forms of elimination are not open and we're cleansing really fast, it's really uncomfortable. And a lot of people get really discouraged, right? Like you might get a whole bunch of diarrhea, you might get a whole bunch of headaches, you might get a whole bunch of cramping. You could have all the symptoms of the flu just because you are cleansing so fast. Some people call that a healing crisis. So especially for children, we want to take it slower. We want to do lower doses and really be observant and help them make it fun, make it easy. And so like I said, the bloodstream extract, it's a pretty heavy hitter. And I would keep this one pretty low, or just do, again, it depends on the child. If they're like an older child, like a teenager, yeah, I'd probably do the bloodstream formula and the chelation formula at the same time. But I think a younger child, I'm thinking right now, like I would probably start with the chelation formula. Do that for like a solid 3 weeks. And then maybe switch over to also doing switch over and like alternate to doing the red clover combination. It's the old name for it. It's the bloodstream formula. And just keep the dosage pretty low. So again, this is the kind of thing that if I had a child who was very, very sick and very, very toxic, schedule some time with me. Let's talk about your unique situation. But I'm just giving you a sense of like, this is the process. Again, if my children were very, very healthy and I knew that they were pooping enough and peeing enough and had very wholesome diet and not a lot of pharmaceuticals, I really wouldn't worry about just adding this to their daily routine, just following the instructions of that children's chelation formula, stirring it into some water and just having them drink it once a day. Not a big deal. So, okay, that was my very, very, very long thing. Colleen, do you have any questions for me today? It's up here. So, there are, oh, here we go. I've heard rose hips help with inflammation. Absolutely. Do you know why? Do you want to guess why? Is there one type better than others? I've never heard like you need this kind of rose hip versus this kind of rose hip. I've honestly not even seen, like when I go and buy rose hips, I don't believe it's ever told me like, oh, it's this variety or it's that variety. So my understanding is any rose hip is great. Obviously, wild roses, you can get hips from wild roses. They'll be smaller than like your commercial rose hips. But they for sure won't have any pesticides or herbicides incorporated in them, and they're likely to be stronger. But any rose hips is good. So yeah, so rose hips are a fabulous source of vitamin C, and vitamin C is the basis for so many processes in the body. And so when you have that vitamin C, your body is better able to produce collagen and rebuild its connective tissues. And I think that could have a lot to do with helping with inflammation. Other than that, I don't really know what the pathway is, but I can't think of any reason why rose hips would ever be a bad idea, right? Like they taste good. They make your tea tangy and a little sweet. Yeah. So I say try it and see how you feel and let me know. Then you can tell us. Yeah. There are two other products that I am going to announce shortly that I think these actually came out before the two products that I announced, but somehow I didn't hear about them until the seminar when I got some free samples. So there's a new one called Nerve Sheath. So right now there are a couple different nerve formulas sold by Dr. Christopher, Holistic Botanicals, and one is Relax Ease. It's a fabulous formula. It helps with relaxing the nervous system and the muscles. It's really, really great. And then also there's the Nerve formula. And so anytime someone has nerve problems, we generally take both of those at the same time. The really cool thing about that, I've had people say, and I got clarity on this last week. I've had people tell me, well, I can't take anything with valerian in it because it just makes me fall asleep. Now, the Relaxease has valerian root in it. But guess what? Fresh valerian root, which can be like extracted and then preserved and active in that fresh way. That is the one that puts you to sleep or helps you sleep. So that's in their slumber product. But once that root is dry, the constituents change around a little bit and it is only relaxing. It's no longer soporific. So I was worried for a while. Was like, oh no, the Relaxease, that'll put me to sleep. It doesn't. Because in the Relaxease, it is the dried form of the root. But now they also have this Nerve Sheath formula, which is exciting because it has a lot of great stuff in it. But one of the things is lion's mane mushroom. Now, that's the first mushroom I've seen incorporated in Christopher's products. They really weren't available when Dr. Christopher was alive. Like people couldn't get medicinal mushrooms. Obviously, they were being used over in China and everything for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. But it wasn't really on the scene for like Western American herbalism yet. And so I'm excited to see that incorporated in there. And I've taken lion's mane powder for myself. I find that it's harder to remember to take powders than to take capsules. And so I haven't taken as much as I wanted. So I'm excited now that I can just take my Nerve Sheath and know I'm getting that. They also have a new product called Heart Formula. And the story behind this one, so their famous heart remedy is actually the hawthorn berry heart syrup. And they have to use fresh hawthorn berries that they collect along the Wasatch Front here in Utah. That is the only way to make it to the potency that Dr. Christopher approved of. And they don't do anything that they don't believe he would have approved of. And so some years they have a lot of hawthorn berries and some years they don't. Okay. And they refuse to make it with dry because it's just not the same product. So this year, there is a shortage of hawthorn berries, I guess, because it was so cold and wet. And so they only have so much of the hawthorn berry heart syrup. The other thing about that is some people don't want to take it because it does have brandy in it as a preservative, which is a grape alcohol. But it is at a very small amount. And people take it every day without, having issues with the alcohol. Anyway, famous remedy with a lot of success, but they developed this heart formula as an alternative that is still very, very nourishing for the heart. But it's a capsule. Okay. So for some people, that's a lot easier as well. And so this is an alternative. It's just called Heart Formula. I'll have it up on my website probably by the end of today. Again, that's herbalembrace.com. And those are ingredients that should be available, whether there is a fresh hawthorn berry abundance or shortage or not. So there's another cool option there. Okay, it is 10:34. If you want to ask one last question, you're welcome to. I wanted to tell you something really, really cool that I learned about Holistic Botanicals. So again, they're the company that manufactures Dr. Christopher's products. And they're all like, it's a family-run company. It's not run by the Christopher family, but the Christopher family has to approve any change or innovation or anything that they make. Especially if it's like, well, we always want wildcrafted this, but we can't get it this year. Are you okay with this? And sometimes they say no. And when they say no, again, because they're respecting Dr. Christopher's wishes and his very good understanding of where certain herbs need to grow and how they need to grow to have those active compounds and the best nourishment and cleansing properties. So when they say no, there's just only so much they can make of that formula, right? Just with what they have, not now. Anyway, okay. So another thing I learned about them, hope you can still hear me. So a lot of people, there's a misnomer out there that in some ways it's valid and in some ways it's not. There's an idea, a belief that a glycerin extract is not as strong as an alcohol extract. Okay. So yes and no, it's not quite that simple. Okay. So there are certain, so every herb or medicinal plant or mushroom or whatever has a huge range of constituents that make it what it is and make it do what it does in the body and affect how it is accepted and assimilated into the body. Okay. And each of those kind of classes or families of components will be extracted better with higher polarity, lower polarity, middle polarity solvents. So what's like the not super chemical engineer way of saying that? These different constituents will be pulled, these different chemicals will be pulled out of the plant material better by some things and not as well by other things. And certain plants, scientists have identified, well, these are like the 3 key active components, which is, in my opinion, way oversimplified because the whole herb is really what's giving you all of those interactions that let your body do what it needs to do with it. But anyway, so they'll say things like, well, echinacea root has to be extracted with alcohol and it has to be like Everclear, like really, really high proof alcohol. Because that's the only way or the best way to get these constituents, which everyone knows from the study of injecting into rats' livers, that it gives you those immunomodulating polysaccharides that make it what it is. Okay. So to a certain extent, that's all true. Okay, fine. But that doesn't mean that you can't make a potent glycerin extract. And so one of the ways that Holistic Botanicals does it is they have this really cool process called forced liquid extraction. Okay, so generally a glycerin extract is made with about half distilled water, half vegetable glycerin, pure. Okay, those percentages can vary according to what's needed. Excuse me. And so they take that liquid and they take their dried or fresh herb. And this process is forcing the liquid through the herb. So it's getting maximum interaction with that herb over and over and over again without heat, without degradation, to get a really, really powerful extraction without alcohol. So that's something really cool I learned about all of these glycerin formulas that are sold, you know, with the Dr. Christopher and the Holistic Botanicals line. And I wanted to share that with you so that you knew it too. Because, you know, the placebo and the nocebo effect is real. If you believe that buying an echinacea glycerin tincture, we'll say from Dr. Christopher, because not everyone has that machine. I don't know which other companies use it. But if I believe that a glycerin extract is weak, then I'm not going to believe that's going to work. And even if I give it to my kids, I'm just going to be like, well, it's not going to work, right? Like that's a real psychological effect. But if you now know, hey, this is actually really high quality stuff and I can count on it, then you can put that into your dosing, right? Like every time I'm taking an herb, I'm praying over it. I'm asking that my body will accept it and get the maximum benefit from it. And I'm believing in it. I'm choosing to believe that I am benefiting my body in some way. And so I hope that helps you a little bit. All right, we're coming up on 10:40. So I'm going to sign off for now, and I will see you next week. Stay tuned for fun announcements. Quick little review right now to celebrate my graduation as a master herbalist. All Holistic Botanicals and Dr. Christopher products are on sale for 20% off. The discount applies automatically at checkout. Woo! Okay. And then next week, we're going to start a giveaway for everydayinexperiment.com, which is where I do my consults and coaching and online classes and digital resources. We'll do a giveaway for a gift card there, and have a lot of fun. In the meantime, please, you guys, like send me messages, comment on stuff. If there's something this is a particular topic you want to hear me talk about, just let me know. I have lots of ideas for some group programs that I want to start. And right now I'm just letting them all percolate and we'll see what comes up. But if you want to input on that, you know, like, oh, Sarah, teach us, let's do a group series on nervous system regulation, or let's do a group series on gut health or autoimmune disease, like just tell me and that will help me. You know, I want to create something that you guys are ready for and interested in. So just let me know. Okay, I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.